Hello there, I am very happy to see this essay from you. Well, let's get right into it. It's a task 1, bar graph with pet owners. Okay. The bar graph illustrates the number of pet owners in 6 regions of the world between 1990, not 1900. Between 1990 and 1998. During the 9-year period, comma, the number of people who looked after animals fluctuated, okay, it's past tense, reaching a peak in 1994 with more than 900,000 owners. On the other hand, the least significant number was seen the next year with over 750,000 people. Ireland had, past tense again, the least number of pet owners, rarely reaching 100,000, whereas Scotland had more than 150,000. It can be seen that the difference between the start year and the end of the survey is occupied by America. I don't know what that means. Are you saying that America was the reason for this fluctuation? Where the number of pet owners rose by roughly 50%, whereas the rest of the region had the same number as at the beginning. 2 ends here. Overall, the first 3 years, the number of pet owners increased by nearly 900,000. Really? 900,000? Followed by a variation at the end. Okay. So, what's missing here? This is a tricky one. It would have really helped if you had included the image on your essay page so that I don't have to refer to it somewhere else. But this is a tricky one because you have this total number, okay? And you mentioned that, and that's fine, so I could get kind of a visual idea of what you're looking at. But there's really, really a lot of data missing with the individual countries. You did pick out some of the highlights, but I think you could have developed this more. I mean, you talk about America, but I have no idea what America's numbers are, and that's really important. I mean, you spent a whole paragraph talking about it, but nowhere do you use any data. You just tell me that it rose by 50%. I don't know what that means, though. I mean, does it mean it went from 50,000 to 75,000, or does it mean it went from like 100,000 to 150,000? So this is information you really need to give the reader. You have to include data with these key points that you mentioned. So I think you could have developed this a little more. I know that there's a lot of information here, but I think it's really important for the reader to be able to understand and visualize what you're looking at. Let's see. You also made a mistake with your tenses, and that's a pretty big deal. It shows not necessarily a... It's interesting. It can do 2 things. It shows that you either don't have an understanding of the graph, that it's clearly all in the past, or that you don't have control over your grammar, and you don't want either of those to be the impression of the examiner, okay? You want to show control as well as an understanding of the graph. This also was kind of a problem because according to this, it's like 98 years, but then you never mention any of those, so that's an inaccuracy that is a problem. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more about the years. Oh yeah, you mentioned here 1994, but then that was it. So I wanted a little more development. Like I said, I know that this particular one is tricky, but I think that you've got the elements and the skeleton here that can help you really improve and do much better on this and other task 1s. So I really hope that we get to see more of your essays. I hope that you'll continue writing so that you can get feedback, and because as you probably know, receiving feedback for your writing is the best way to improve by knowing what your weaknesses are as well as your strengths. You can help overcome any weaknesses. So that's the end of this correction. I hope I get to see more of your essays. So good luck with everything.